Welcome to DUBBZI Bricks for another episode of building the Tantive in Lego. In the last update, there were several comments about the cockpit skin on here, and really do appreciate all the comments that you guys put out there, so please keep them coming. And a lot of people asked why I don't do it as one continuous skin. Now, this is something that I did try many weeks or months ago, and it was just so awkward to get it exactly where I wanted it. That said, I wasn't probably using as many ball joints as I am at the moment. So if I was to connect this one to this one using, say, 3 sets of ball joints, I'd have a lot more maneuverability with it, and it would probably work just as well. So whether or not that is something I do sort of like go back to, I'm not sure. It would be a lot easier if I made this top section, it just rested on top. Problem is, I wouldn't be able to do the same on the bottom here because it will just fall off. So I'm going to need to find a solution for the bottom section. And it is something that I am thinking about constantly at the moment. Now, on the bottom here, this part just here, there is going to be a lot of detail. So it's going to be a lot of brick built attached sections to that. And that may very well help with how I go forward with the rest of the skin. But that's a problem for another week. I've placed an order with lego.com for a whole load more pieces for this cockpit section. So fingers crossed that won't take too long to arrive, and then I'll be able to crack on with that. So I am constantly thinking about ways of improving how I connect this to the vessel. The style's not going to change. That's going to be as it is. It's just how much of it I can actually get sorted out. Now, another question that keeps cropping up is this minifig scale? So apologies for those that know the answer, but I'm just going to quickly let everybody know, for those that are new to the channel, this vessel, I'm not sure whether it's minifig scale or not. Initially, it was never going to be minifig scale. It was going to be about 2 meters in length. However, once I'd built this section just here, that then dictated the size of the vessel, and it went to over 3 meters in length, which is what we're currently at. It's going to work out about 3 meters 20. I did calculate it, or try and work out how big it would need to be minifig scale, and I thought initially that it was. Hence, that is the title I've given a couple of the older videos. Somebody in the comments, they worked it out, and they also came to the same answer as me, so I thought it was minifig scale. However, the last time I calculated it, I made it would need to be a little bit bigger, so this isn't minifig scale. So the answer is I'm not sure, so I'm no longer saying yes, this is minifig scale. Now, people have been commenting about the inside of it, saying there's no way that it's minifig scale. You're right, it's not realistic to the cross section, and that's because I don't think the cross section personally is correct. I don't think it's anywhere near correct. I don't think it's possible for them to fit all of the rooms inside the Tantive that they claim were in there in the style that they've done. Whether the inside's correct or not, I'm not sure. All I'm saying is this is a massive Tantive IV, and I'm going to fit as much details into the interior as possible. Now, in this update, we're going to continue working on this section here whilst we wait for the parts for the cockpit section. And what I really want to do is get this part here all sorted out. Once I've got that part sorted out, I can finish doing the skin on this part just here, and the bits just here as well. I really look forward to starting working on the bottom of the vessel. It'll be nice to get that sorted, as I'm really unsure how easy that's going to be, getting under there and getting everything attached exactly how I want it to. So without further ado, let's get the bricks and plates out and let's get started. So this is the section that we're working on at the moment, and I just need to get this curved area here worked out, how I'm going to go about doing so. Once we've done that, then I can start working out how I'm going to do this part. And this is another section which is going to be probably just as frustrating as the skin we have here. And also, I want to try and build one of these that is a removable panel to go over the corridor section that we've already built. So yeah, whether or not we can do that, I'm not sure. It could be so much hassle that it's just not worth doing it, as I mentioned before. But what we've got here, this section just here, this is what we've come up with so far. So here we have our attempt at doing a round shape. Pretty happy with how that's come out. However, I have sort of like been thinking it'd be better to have these 2 curved pieces here as opposed to these 4 slopes. Just makes it that a little bit better, a little bit more smooth for the round section. So that's probably what I'll do on this top part just here. Now this part, as you can see, it doesn't go all the way around. It hits this part just here, and also you can have the same on the slope back there. So yeah, just need to work out how we're going to go about doing it, what parts we're going to do. So what I'm going to do first of all, I'm going to make some framework behind here so I can then attach the whole to the build. There's a little bit of trial and error along the way here, but we've now built this framework all up ready for the hole to go on the outside here. Now I've used a 45-degree slope and a 33-degree slope and then the two curves here. However, I'm not 100% happy with it, so I have knocked this up here and it's a lot smoother looking and it actually fits perfectly on that part just there. So I think this is the way that I'm going to go forward with this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and bring a couple of the curved slopes either out or in just to give it a little bit more depth to the actual build. Hopefully it'll look that little bit better. So let's carry on building all of that up, and then once I've done so, I'm then going to start looking at putting the top section on here but also the paneling on the sides. Now we're well underway with the side paneling on the build here, and really happy with how this part is looking at the moment. I think this looks good, having it sticking out a little bit. If I change my mind, it's very easy just to peel it off and then push it so it's all nice and flush. Now what I need to do next is work on the lights. They go on here, the ceiling part for the light, sorry. And that way I then know how high up I need to come with these. At the moment I've got it at 8 studs, but I'm thinking it's possibly going to be 9 or possibly even 10 studs high. But also on here I'm going to put a wedge plate as well, and then that way it's just going to cover over this gap part just here. I think that'll look pretty good having it like that. And on this side we've got one continuous panel at the moment, but it is obviously very flimsy. There's no connection points behind here. So what I'll probably do if I can is swap out a couple of bricks here if it's possible to do so, and put some more of the hinge pieces in there just to give it that little bit more strength. So let's make a start and get that ceiling all in place. Then we're able to work out exactly how high we need to come up with these panels. And there we have Leia's stateroom with a ceiling on there, and I've pulled the old tiles up as I thought it'd be a lot easier to do it now rather than try to get in there later when the ceiling's on. So at least now, once the tiles arrive, which I have ordered, I can just put them down and that'd be it, job done. What I'm going to do now is turn my attention to this area just here and get this all ready for the hot tub room that we're going to be having here. That's just a little Easter egg from the Star Wars Lego games. So I just need to build some more slopes up here, do another one at the back, and then just do a plain wall on the background. I'm not sure what I'm going to actually make the interior look like. I just need to have a quick look at the images again just to remind myself of that. But I may very well do this in a grey colour. And here is an image of the hot tub room in the Star Wars game. And the plan is we're going to have the wall going along the side here and along the back, and then the door will be on this side. So the hot tub will be along here, and then the steps down from the hot tub will be going that way. There's going to be a little bit of trial and error and experimenting as we go along, trying to make this room look as best we can. And there we have the hot tub. I'm really happy with how that's come out. It's smaller than you see in the game by, I think it's 2 studs in both directions, but all in all, I think I've captured every design element on there, even the stripe at the bottom of the steps. I did put macaronis around here as well. However, I couldn't get them integrated into the slope here because there was a lack of space. And around this side, it wouldn't have worked because of the door. So yeah, we've only been able to put the one curved edge on the room at the back just there. But I'm happy with the overall look of this. Now, one thing I will do is put a light in the bottom of the hot tub. So when all the trans clear studs are in there, it does actually light that up. There were a couple of other parts that I was struggling a little bit with, and that was the door frame there. Just trying to get that looking exactly how I wanted it to. Again, very restricted on space on this top section, which did lead to a couple of problems. But now we've got that sorted out, let's turn our attentions back to the other side of the build and get that panel all sorted. And there we have the panel on the side at the very top, and it's not the full size what it's going to be. We will be going up by an extra stud on the top here with the actual tile. I'm hoping that once I've got the roof section on here, the one tile will join up to that perfectly. If not, there will be loads of different techniques I can use to get that sorted. I've got the light here all ready for the hot tub area, and as you can see, we've got the connector board just down there, so I hope I never have to get to that, as it's going to mean a lot of peeling off of parts to get there. And the same up here, we've got the 8Y connector board, and I've left, this was a 6-1 originally, and I've changed it over, so I've got an extra few sockets there. One for the cable to go to the power supply, and the other two for the two lights that will be going on the top section. And again, down here, this will come one stud lower eventually as well. But first of all, what I need to do is get this whole area here all plated off so it's one solid plate. And I also need to get this part amended as well, so it's the same as the other side, where it just steps back to enable me to put the details on the greebling. So let's get this section all plated off and make the amendments to the side. And there we have the side section all amended, ready for the greebling. Just need to put some half Technic pins along these areas just here and plate that off. However, I'm not sure whether I've got the right plates or the right length plates. I want to have them as long as possible, and I know I'm getting very low on those, so there is something I can add a little bit later, as I won't be doing the greebling in this update. Now what I'm going to do is have a go at trying to plate this off. Now on the previous one, I detached the entire section and then reattached it. However, due to there being beams in the center of it, I can't do that on this one, so just got to be really, really careful while plating this off and try and get it as sturdy as possible. So let's tackle that part now and see how we get on. And that's another side panel all sorted, and it was very fragile. The framework under there, I wish I put a little bit more effort into making it sturdy from the get-go, as there was quite a few bits that popped off and I had to reinforce it, strip it back and do it again. But unfortunately, it was due to how I connected it, it wasn't a case of just taking it off and putting it back on there. It'd have been a lot more work involved, but we got there eventually. So this is all now ready for the tiling to go on the top of it, and any other details like the domes that go on the top here and here. Now, we do need to extend this by one plate, but that happens when we do the tiling on there. And as you can see, it's in multicolours here, but these are all colours I don't mind showing through if there's a grill piece below it or a tile below, so that's all good. Originally, I was going to stick to just having white plates, but I realised there's no point doing that. I don't have a massive quantity of white plates, so I might as well use the pieces I've got so I can get it built that little bit quicker and easier. But it's nice having this side pretty much done on that side of things, and this bit all ready for the greebling. And it's one of those things I'm wondering whether or not to work on the bottom next, get that all plated off and ready for the greebling as well. But yeah, it's getting there slowly but surely. A massive thank you to DUBBZI Bricks for providing the lights for this mock. I really do appreciate your continued support. And I will leave a link in the description of the video. So if you do need any lights for your builds, just check them out. I highly recommend doing so. And remember, if you use the code DUBBZI, you will get 25% off your order, and it does help the channel. Anyway, that's all we have time for. I hope you've enjoyed the update. If you have, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. And if you're watching this on a mobile, if you could hit the hype button, that'd be much appreciated. It does help others to discover the channel. Anyway, thanks for popping on by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.